Hey everyone, welcome to Baka Reviews. In today's episode, we are back to our... We had enough episodes where I can say back to our roots.
Yeah.
Okay, we're back to our roots, and we're doing a Studio Ghibli film.
Whoa, Studio Gibbs.
Thanks, Robin.
I just squeaked the marker across.
You're getting it away
blackboard.
with it early, so that way they leave real early, right, this time?
Yes.
Okay, I got you. Anyways, we're reviewing Castle in the Sky.
This movie's wild.
I like this movie.
I just
Spoiler
watched
alert.
it. So let me give a quick recap of the movie.
That sounds great.
So there's this kid, because I did such a good job with the last one. There's this
Yeah, you
kid.
did amazing.
I'll get the taser.
There's
Okay.
this little girl who has this stone, and she gets kidnapped from her little house that she lives alone in. It's kind of revealed later in the movie, but whatever. She gets kidnapped by this group that's working with the military, and they're looking for Lapta, the island in the sky, the legendary island that's supposed to be a myth. It's basically Atlantis, except in the sky.
Or Treasure Planet.
This is like a steampunk world, kind of, and it's really cool. But anyways, they kidnap her, but then pirates also want this stone because they want the treasure on the island. So pirates attack. She falls off the ship, and she falls into the arms of a kid, and she takes no fall damage, and that's a recurring thing throughout the series is the main characters taking no fall damage.
Did they just have one square of water?
Yes, something like that.
Considering Kazu falls through a sidewalk and is fine, I don't think they can take fall
He
damage.
crushes his head in the bricks, and then she falls on top of him again and crushes his head in the bricks, and he's just like, my head's harder than my boss's fist. And I'm like, oh my goodness.
Not to get too sidetracked, but when he said that, I was just thinking, wow, the main character from Demon Slayer's got a...
Yeah. It's like,
Got
this
a
is
boss fight
brutal
ahead of
too.
him.
It's like, what's going on with this kid? But anyways, some wacky hijinks ensue, and skipping through all that because a lot of it's like action and setting stuff up. Eventually, she gets captured. They activate the stone that she has that leads them to the island. They fly there, and the kid joins the pirates, and so it's like the military and the pirates all converging at the same time, and it ends up being the island was abandoned and like all the people died, but there's still these robots that take care of it. And it's wild because there's a castle in the sky, which is not where castles are supposed to be. So it's like, it's crazy.
I know, my experience are usually underwater.
I kept telling my girlfriend, because I was watching it too, I was like, there's not supposed to be a castle in the sky. That's crazy. So anyways, they go into the castle. Some other wacky hijinks ensue, and they kill everyone. Everyone dies. The military, the only people that survive is the pirates. The military is completely destroyed. They all die because one of the guys,
Not the entire military.
just the military that was sent there.
Yeah.
So anyways, the one guy that was there betrays the military, and he's like, I am the rightful king of this land, and starts activating the Death Star laser on it. And then the little girl swipes it from him, and they like fight against him. And then she's like, you know what? Actually, the little kid is like, you know what? Let's use your death spell against him. And they hold hands, and they blast him, and they destroy the castle. And then, even wilder than the castle in the sky, they escape from it with the pirates. The castle just gets set up higher and higher. And now it's a castle in space.
Now it is a fully operational Death Star.
It is. So, yeah.
That was truly horrible. Thank you very much.
Yep.
I appreciate that. So yeah, that's basically that's like 90% accurate on how it went, right?
I don't know. I think that's broad like a smooth ball. Like there's
There's a lot of other things that happen, but the basic premise is that they go to Atlantis in the sky and they send it to space.
You know,
Also,
we don't
too-
really have to
yeah.
go every detail, but it was great what he did. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I don't remember what I was.
Oh,
gonna say.
okay. I was gonna say it is basically Atlantis mixed with Treasure Planet for our Disney fans.
Yeah.
Right? You got Treasure Planet vibes from this, right?
I got more kind of Gulliver's Travels from it.
I
is.
guess I could see that.
There's some Gulliver's Travels inspiration because of they even
It's
mentioned
either
it
Gulliver's
in the movie.
Travels or, well, you guys said Treasure Planet. I'm thinking more actual like old just Treasure Island even.
I was thinking Treasure Planet because of the the steampunk, the airships, stuff like that. The whole like military.
I like to
thing.
think this, even though it's not because the one was based off a novel. I like to think this is somewhere else in the world of Howl's Moving Castle.
Oh yeah,
Miyazaki
I was
loves his
thinking,
airships.
Yeah,
He does.
I was thinking like in a really roundabout way. What if Howl's Moving Castle's after this, after like the military went to war? But
Yeah, well, I mean,
Anyways.
just be somewhere else even
could be.
because it's like there's a military.
So yeah, overall thoughts.
Gee, you know what else I got from this too?
What?
Major Elden Ring vibes.
Really,
Yeah,
I didn't get any Elden Ring.
I don't know, the floating island that's perfect yet derelict and abandoned.
Oh,
but
the
yet there's
robot?
like Farum Azula.
Oh yeah, the robots there were freaky
Well,
too.
just kind of the overall just kind of concept of like the Souls games and stuff where it's like everything is still here, but it's just derelict.
Yeah,
Things are still trying to keep everything running.
the whole world kind of felt like it was like abandoned in a way.
Yeah, kind of.
Right?
Well, we don't really
Like-
get to see much of the rest
No, but like the mining areas and like the landscape they showed us, it all seemed fairly like a big war had been going on or was still going on.
I think that's kind of reflect kind of what what are they called? The people
Laputians or whatever.
were, I don't think as peaceful as people thought they were,
Right.
considering
Yeah.
they had a Death Star laser
Yeah.
on their castle.
And apparently they were the ones that nuked Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah, apparently.
That was the
That was
most
like the most random thing, yeah.
like the most random connection ever. It's just like, oh, we were the ones that nuked Sodom and
I'm just
Gomorrah. I
like,
was like,
wait.
what?
What time is this?
What?
First of all,
I think they
It's
pull a
like-
Full Metal Alchemist there.
I'm guessing
Kinda,
so.
yeah.
Because like that's Old Testament. So
They
that's-
should have just been like, we built Stonehenge.
Yeah.
We nuked Sodom and Gomorrah. We parted the Red Sea.
Just following this tribe around. Look at that zap.
we
Zap.
Death Starred Jesus.
Yeah.
You thought he was crucified.
Just every major event in history
It was
that's
just
well
this
known.
island.
Yeah.
I mean, if this was a Japanese movie made in the 90s, yeah, they would have just like connected all the Bible to this.
They're just like, we shot a huge hole into America and created the Grand Canyon.
Yeah. Anyways, overall thoughts for me personally, I really like the movie. I like the world setting, even though it's like bare minimum. I think that's what I like about it is it gives you a lot of like this room to be like, oh, I get like this type of feeling from this, or like this type of vibe. Like,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
the airships, how they're designed.
Mhm.
I like how some of them were very like military like, but then some of them were just straight up birds.
Yeah.
Like the pirate ship was just a vulture.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like it just looked exactly like a vulture.
They did have cool designs, like the little like speeder bike things that they had.
Yeah,
had,
like,
like-
the hummingbird.
Had
things.
like the crazy.
See, that's
like,
what made me
dragonfly
think
wings.
that it was like how you could connect with Howl's Moving Castle. Because
Yeah,
that's the
right.
same thing the military had.
Well, I
Yeah.
think there's two things Ghibli can do. They can make weird worlds, but all their characters and all their vehicles are basically going to be the
Same
same.
Yeah.
characters, same vehicles, same sprites.
Yeah, basically. But we didn't see any silt sprites in this one, did we?
No.
Yeah, so I thought.
There was nothing magical or mystical in this.
I don't know.
Like,
laser shooting robots.
That
is
was
they,
pretty
all
they
nice.
said it was
science.
yeah,
It's
they
pretty
said it,
magical and
I
mystical.
mean, it is kind, especially the stone. Like the stone
Yeah,
is
and the
probably the
girl
most
is just
mystical
like,
thing.
death spell.
Because
Go.
it's like it only works for me. Okay, yeah, there's the random magic that she has, but
That's not magic. If you think about it, that is just voice activated command.
that's true.
But so is magic.
Because she
Well,
she
yeah,
uses
but
the,
theoretically, magic is just science we don't understand yet.
she
Yeah.
uses it with her
So-
stone, I think. So that's,
Yeah, the stone is literally
Okay.
just probably a device that
Yeah.
interacts with
Yeah.
So it
I-
is, it is the most scientific one because
I-
all
yeah.
the other ones are like, this is just a spirit or whatever, and this
Right,
one's just like, we
just,
had advanced technology.
Just wait till we get to Nausicaa.
Oh boy,
When is Nausicaa? We need to watch. I might move that.
I
up
think
the next review.
that's
Hang on.
like the first.
Anyway, continue for review.
Yeah.
Ramen Cat, what do you think overall? I'm gonna do some background stuff.
I liked it. I liked that it was just a simple adventure story. I'm sure there was some deep meanings somewheres in there, but it's like it was just basically adventure, and
Yeah,
I liked that. I liked the characters. Like I didn't find the main character obnoxious or anything.
right. Yeah,
Like he was just, I'm up for it. Let's go.
I was happy.
My
that,
dad looked for this island. I should too.
Yeah, I was happy that neither the girl or the boy were like annoying.
Yeah, they worked very well together.
Yeah, like it felt very natural too. And I like the fact that they weren't like. You could tell that they liked each other, and
Mhm.
like they probably were gonna fall in love, or probably were in love at the end of it. But it wasn't like what Ghibli movie did we just watch where it felt like this amazing? Oh, like Ponyo.
Yeah,
It wasn't as it felt like forced as like Ponyo. was.
Yeah. And just, I don't know, all the characters were really cool. I really liked the villain in it. Like he was cool. I was kind of trying to figure out, it's like, I know they're gonna have a villain, but how are they gonna fit it into it? It's like, I'm the rightful heir to this whole place. Like, oh,
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
pretty darn great. I like that.
this did the thing that Ghibli movies usually do, where it makes the villains a little more complex than most. Like child villain, like in movies like this, they're usually just like, I'm evil and want to destroy the world, and they're usually like, they were really bad, more bad than usual for Ghibli movies, like bad as an evil like villains, but you still like understood what they're kind of going after. Like
Yeah.
the government wants to get the treasure, the pirates also want the treasure,
well,
and
the government wanted the weapon.
yeah, well they want.
Well, the main government wanted the treasure. The
I don't know if they knew.
Buska wanted the weapon.
Yeah, I don't know if they knew about the weapon.
No, they didn't.
They were just like wanted to explore the thing, so it kind of makes sense. It's not like super evil. It's just like, we want the treasure. We want to explore this place.
The government felt very much like, and I think this is probably intentional. It felt very much like old European, like old English military, like during like the time when they were in Egypt and stuff, during like the Egyptian craze,
Oh,
Hmm.
yeah.
where they're like they'd go explore a pyramid, but literally they just took all the valuables. out of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is kind of like that. A lot of old wars and stuff were just like, invade this place, steal all their stuff.
Yeah, and then we'll leave.
Yeah.
So like the uniforms, you know, like a lot of that, like even the way like the voice acting stuff was, it felt very much like European or like English, like military and
Yeah.
stuff. I think the whole world was technically supposed to be set in more like an English setting.
It does give off that vibe, yeah.
Yeah. So like the countryside and stuff feels more English than like Japan or something like that. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think honestly my favorite scene in this whole thing is the robot attacking the military stronghold.
That was so
That
cool.
was cool.
It's
Have
such an
any of you-
intense like
Yeah.
set of scenes.
Have any of you ever watched the original Superman cartoons?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you
Yeah,
guys-
the first episode ever.
with the
is
giant
fighting-
robot.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that robot reminded me of that. Like, it
Yeah.
was great. It was around the same
It-
time that they're created too. So
No, the Superman was way back in the 50s.
was it?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought that was.
This is 1986.
That's true. Yeah, but that's
And
that
if they
gave
could
me-
pull off this animation in the 60s, holy cow.
that is true.
Everyone, base level, bare minimum 3D animation should be Mappa level at that point.
But no, that was cool. I like the robot fight. One of my favorite scenes was probably the street fight
Oh,
between
yeah.
the miners.
Yeah,
and
show
the
it.
pi-
We're showing
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Sure.
I forgot about that.
Rip your shirt, Paul.
That was Full Metal Alchemist vibes of
was.
just
I
like
was
the
just like-
flexing on each other.
I wonder if that scene in Full Metal Alchemist was a straight up reference to.
Oh, it could
I
probably.
feel like it was.
It's a weird movie because like that in that part specifically, the violence was like wacky, like it was like Popeye kind of like
Yeah.
a fight. And then the rest of the movie is just like guns and cannons and
Yeah.
like
If you notice,
insane.
besides for in the end when people are like falling to their death, nobody actually really gets shot. Well, okay, some people.
The boy gets shot.
The boy
The
gets
fort,
grazed.
the
Grazed.
fort got like
Yes, but that wasn't like
melted.
people getting shot and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like individual like
yeah.
violence, like compared to like
Well, it's a kids movie.
Yeah. It is definitely meant for kids, and so it doesn't have that violence. But it is funny that all of them die at the end. Like
it was.
you do see them, like it's a really zoomed out shot, and you see them like ants trying to board this vessel,
Yeah.
and then the bridge breaks and they're just like falling
Yeah.
off, and it's like this is
Well, and all of
horrifying.
them at the bottom after he shoots the like
Yeah.
laser, like they all just fall
Yeah,
into the
it
ocean,
does just,
hundreds
like-
of feet away.
Yeah,
below.
it does just drop them.
Yeah, so it
It's
was
like you
weird.
don't survive that.
Keep your legs straight, Spike.
I do like how the pirates though, like they had like those big cannons, but those things were just like gas bullets or something.
Yeah.
Like they exploded. And I'm sure they'd kill somebody, but like all the pirates never were like trying to actually
Yeah, they were like
hurt or kill people.
Yeah.
they were like explosives that then made a big smoke cloud.
Yeah,
so
that
they
was-
could
that was
like
cool.
hide in it.
And then like all the pirate ships, and they have guns. They like smoke screens and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So
That was
The
cool.
pirates are pretty cool, and
Yeah.
I liked it. I was hoping that something was going to happen where they weren't necessarily bad
Evil.
guys.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it kind of paid off, and was like, yes,
that was fun.
because they were too like goofy. Like at the
Yeah.
beginning, it's like, okay, it would be cool if they are like bad guys all the way through, but at the same time, I want to see more of them.
Yeah.
and that happened. So
How about you? What's your favorite part, Weez?
It's hard to think of my favorite part. I did like the robot. I thought the robot, like the first introduction to it when he just walks into the room, and it's all been very like pretty simple the whole way, and except for like her floating like thing.
Yeah,
Then it just shows this thing, and it looks straight out of Evangelion. And
I
it's
know.
like
That's
this
what I was
is
thinking
kind
too.
of, and it's like the part that it like broke off its hand and stuff had these weird like maggoty like things inside of it.
Yeah, it's
Like, it was-
organic.
It was like,
almost.
this is kind of freaky. And then when she activates it and it like its eyes light up and then it like can't stand up, so it's crawling its way through the
Yeah.
facility. It was like, wow, this is kind of like unnerving like design of the robot.
That's how
It was
I
really
got
cool.
in the when the army is running away and Muska activates the robots on the Death Star,
Oh yeah.
the castle.
Hmm.
Like the way they crawled around the corridors.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is kind
It's
of
like-
terrifying.
Yeah, those things they seem later like as you see more of them they're less scary because
Yeah.
you can see what they're doing. But just like the
yeah, but knowing
initial-
what they can
Yeah.
do is the
and the initial
Or the
introduction
fact,
of them
like
is
when
just-
the Goliath military ship leaves and like they all just like drop out, fly around. It's like a bunch of
Yeah.
a swarm of them.
yeah.
It is
Uh,
pretty great when it's going through the facility and it just like pops out wings and starts rocking and they're like, it
Yeah.
can fly.
Yeah, that was kind of like unnerving. Like when I was trying to get to her,
Yeah.
and she was like at the top of the stairs, and like it just like launches itself at her. I'm
And
just
then,
like,
like,
are you trying to kill her or trying to save?
They
her?
close the one door and then he just like melts it and it turns into lava and he
Yeah.
just walks through it.
See, that was Ghibli just yet again showing off their animation. Because
Yeah.
it's like, well, we have no slime scenes, so lava.
Slime scene. They had a freaking hurricane.
Yeah, but that's not showing off.
That's not showing off
that's,
enough.
That's not showing.
That was.
Fluids are the most difficult thing to animate.
How about the lightning?
Yeah.
Lightning was cool.
The lightning was
There-
sick.
A small thing I noticed was at the very near the beginning, right before she gets Sheeta gets captured, and they're like looking up at the clouds.
Mhm.
One of the clouds is really big,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, that's cool. And then they go to it later, and it's like, this looks the same as it did in that other scene.
Yeah, I think the island was literally over them like the
Yeah.
whole time.
I don't know. I don't have too much more to say about it.
Any dislikes?
Okay.
That's what I was gonna move into next. Like, what's your guys' critique of the film?
I have one dislike, and it's when the girl at the very end just starts spouting morals to the guy, the bad guy.
Oh,
Like her character didn't feel like that throughout the entire movie, and then it's just like, here's the message of the movie, and she's gonna say it. And
instead of the way her character was, like, you shouldn't kill people. Why not? Because it's wrong.
yeah.
yeah.
So that scene I didn't like. That was just like, it wasn't that big of a deal, and it wasn't like a big thing. They didn't make a big deal out of it, but it was just like she had this monologue, and it was like, where did that come from? She's never talked like this the whole movie, and then she's just like, we look what happened to this place, and we're gonna do the same thing, and blah blah blah.
Yeah,
and she just kills him.
Yeah, that's true. She just straight up murder him.
Yeah.
Poor Mark Hamill.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was Mark Hamill at first. I'm like, that sounds like the Joker.
Oh
and I
my
had to
God.
look it up.
Sorry, I know I'm supposed to do a critique, but one of my absolute all-time favorite moments is when Muska is chasing the girl down the halls, and he starts laughing.
Yeah,
that was straight up the Joker laugh. I'm just like, oh my God,
That's
this is
great.
amazing.
That's what made me have to look it up, because I'm like, I know that laugh from somewheres.
It was like one of the best ones, because it also was kind of sad too, because it made me remember that we'll never have Mark Hamill as a Joker again.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyways, my critique was probably how the girl falls out of the sky. The boy's just like, oh, I'm catching this girl. And then after that, it's just like they're best friends.
That's true, yeah.
Okay.
Like, there
Mine is
wasn't-
a similar point at this scene.
Yeah.
Finish up.
Okay. I was going to say, it's just like, it felt for a fairly realistic fantasy movie. Like, a lot of things made sense in this movie, how people interact with each other. I get that they're kids, but it was just straight up weird, where he's just like, hey, I caught this girl. First of all, everybody blew him off about that. Second of all, he's just okay now with like risking his life and all that stuff.
To be
like,
fair, he was already planning on going eventually to try to
I'm not
find
talking
the
about
island.
the city. I'm talking about the fact that he's running away from pirates that are shooting at him. A military train.
That's because he's
I
a
guess-
kid and wants adventure.
I
His
guess
dad
he
was an
was
adventurer.
adventurous.
I guess, yeah.
It's
Just-
like
See,
the thing.
they should have had a little bit more background on that. I feel like there
that-
should have been a little bit more thing. My dad was an adventurer. I plan on following in his
yeah,
footsteps.
so like a 2-hour movie, I would have liked a 5-minute extra scene of like maybe them getting a little to know each other.
Here,
a little bit
son,
more.
this is what
Yeah.
I found.
A little bit more time, maybe in the caves.
I found
Yeah.
that
I would have been happy.
I
with that.
didn't love the characters. They were just fine. And that's
Yeah.
probably why. Is they didn't have like a moment. They didn't have any like conflict or anything that they got over. It was just like he brought her to his house, put her in his bed,
Yeah.
and then it was like wakes up the next morning. It's funny too because he doesn't do anything to try to wake her up. He just
Yeah.
catches a sleeping girl out of the sky and then just takes her home and then wakes up the next morning. It's like, oh cool, you're awake.
Right.
It's like, what the heck?
Well, and that's like, as a DM, it felt very much like taking party members and be like, you have to play together now.
Yeah.
Here's your next party member. They'll
Yeah.
be gone next week.
Exactly. It's just like, you have to be nice to them now. Now go do something.
Yeah.
Case in point, why I always start with the you know each other already.
Yeah, well, that's kind of, I think that's what I didn't really like about it, because it felt like
They
That's
should
how-
have
that's
known
how-
each other before.
that's kind of what it felt like the relationship was from the very beginning. It's just like they knew each other.
Yeah.
Like, even the way they introduced each other, it just felt like two acquaintances.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, now we're friends. It's just
I
like-
guess it could be because they both kind of lived alone. Like
Maybe.
they both were kind of isolated from most of real life. So
I think if you thought long and hard about it, you could wiggle your way into a good story reason. But just overall,
yeah.
that's kind of how I got. Like, when I first watched it, just like, that just feels very awkward.
Yeah.
Like the scene, the whole when he's at his house scene just felt very forced, and it's just like, this is the D&D campaign, so you guys can't like
Yeah.
not trust each other or anything like that.
Yeah.
You said you had a similar point.
Oh, just at a similar scene. After he catches her, he just leaves her there and goes about his work instead of, boss, I just caught a lady out of
I
the
mean-
sky. I've got to
Yeah,
go.
well, he's just like, hey boss, I caught a lady. He's like, oh yeah, sure. Like, the boss just blows him off. I'm like, what?
It seems like he's usually a pretty level-headed kid. Why would you doubt him now?
Yeah, exactly.
He's your mechanic.
I guess
Yeah.
he was like busy fixing stuff or whatever. But it is funny. He just like, I caught a girl, sets her down, goes back to work. It's like, hey, boss, I caught a girl. And he's like, whatever, go do this thing. It's like, okay.
Like, how often do little girls just plummet from the sky there? Well, I mean, there's
He did say
airship.
there was like a couple hundred girls in the village, so maybe he just has to catch them jumping off the cliff once in a while.
Yeah, it's the village tradition or something.
Maybe, yeah.
Wee! Got another one.
I don't know. But yeah, besides for critique, like unlike I feel like the last couple Ghibli films we watched, we didn't really enjoy them as much. But like this one, it being one of the older ones, definitely it feels like true Ghibli.
Yeah, it was good.
Like this
See,
is one of their
that was the
bangers.
thing I kind of liked about it. It didn't feel like Ghibli.
It was.
I like Ghibli movies. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It was more like focused, kind of.
Okay.
Like it had a main, very specific plot. You could just say like,
See-
this group is trying to get treasure from a floating island.
Well, that's
which-
what I'm kind of referring to is like Princess Mononoke
Mm-hmm.
is very much like that. Like there's a plot going throughout all of it. Spirited Away, there's a plot going all throughout it. But like Ponyo and My Neighbor Totoro, they felt very, and those were probably because those are the more kiddish ones.
Yeah.
Like, those are the rated G ones. Those ones I didn't like as much because it felt just too cheerful and too like
Well, see,
it's just a world. We're just playing
Yeah.
around in it. Like there's no real story, it felt like.
yeah. Well, and I think that's the thing. Usually, the Ghibli feel is more everything's kind of relaxed. Yeah, there's a few tension points and stuff here, but other than that, you're just meant to just enjoy the spectacle.
I don't
Where
know, like-
Princess Mononoke, this, I imagine probably Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, they all have like very serious set
Yeah.
plots.
Yeah.
Like this wasn't as serious. This was just truly just high adventure.
This one had a very specific thing too, because a lot of them they might have like a starting point, and then they kind of you're not sure where the goal is. Like Princess Mononoke, it starts out with this specific like conflict going on between two groups, and then it kind of merges into like the forest and stuff, and you're not like it's not super clear what
Well,
like,
because with that, what happened
main
was
goal
is
is.
the main starting goal was figured out like within the first 10
Yeah.
minutes. So it's like from that, okay, what happened?
and that's where this one had just like we're going to the castle in the sky, and then
Yeah.
the whole movie was just
getting to
like,
the castle.
yeah.
in the sky.
Like a lot of other things happened, but the main goal stayed the same. Whereas like
like an adventure.
yeah, like Spirited Away had a goal with like her trying to save her parents, but most of the movie she's not really trying to save her parents. She's just like
right.
existing. in
It's
this
it's
world.
letting you see.
Well, in a
the
way,
world.
Yeah.
she's like surviving.
Yeah, it is more like surviving, and that's what a lot of the movies.
Well, a lot of
are like-
adventure movies and stuff, what they do, if you're going kind of off old formula, and some newer, well, I haven't really seen a lot of good adventure movies lately. is
I
you
watched
do-
a really good one.
Hmm?
I watched a really good one recently.
What one?
It might sound funny, but Transformers: Rise of the Beast.
Oh, but like an
Nice.
adventure
That's
movie,
a whole other thing. Though.
generally the formula is one of two things. You either have you beeline for the goal, kind of like
Yeah.
what this was,
Mhm.
or you have you're going through it, but the world is more important than the end goal. The end goal is purely just why you bring the characters to, like King Kong.
right. yeah.
It's completely different genre, but similar case. King Kong was let's go find the giant ape. He was the spectacle and stuff, but the island was the thing. That was kind of the payoff for the viewer, was all this crazy stuff on the
Well,
island.
especially like the newer one, the 2001 one,
Yeah.
the King Kong. That one was definitely more island spectacle than anything else.
Yeah. And that was the payoff. It really wasn't. King Kong was kind of the quote unquote plot driver.
Yeah.
But then you have like, I don't know, old adventure movies like Clash of the Titans, like the old one, not the newer one, where it is beeline adventure goal. You see all the spectacles as you're going along, but the main character is just plowing through everything
yeah,
to get to the end goal.
Well, and I think overall, that's like this movie did that really well of writing.
Oh,
the
yeah.
line of like the world felt
You got to
Fun.
enjoy it. You didn't feel rushed.
yeah.
but there still was a good solid path. to
Yeah,
go to.
exactly.
This did feel more like a old Disney movie
Yeah.
than like a normal Ghibli meandering
Well, that's where I
through a
say.
vibe.
That's why I say like I feel like Treasure Planet might even got like inspired by this as well.
Oh yeah,
Because like of course Treasure Planet is a spin-off of Treasure Island.
Yeah.
Like that's its main thing. But I feel like a lot of
there's
plot
those little
lines.
meandering moments, but not too much.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I need to rewatch Treasure Planet. That's like one of my favorite Disney movies. After watching this, I just got it hankering to watch it. But overall, I like this film. I think it's probably my top 3 Ghibli films now.
This is my favorite.
Is it your favorite?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Because I love adventure movies. Like
Yeah.
if they're done good, and also it's a steampunk movie. So
Yeah, right.
Yeah. This
Can't
is
go
in
wrong
my
with that.
top 2.
Yeah.
I think it's my second favorite.
I think for me it's Howl's Moving Castle and then Castle in the Sky. And then probably
noticing a pattern.
Yeah,
here.
no.
and then Princess Mononoke.
I'm
and then,
really noticing a pattern because I was a fort.
I just like my
like
buildings.
castles.
I don't care if they move on land. I don't care if they fly.
If they just stay on an island.
They stay on an island.
But it was just such a wacky concept. There's a castle in the sky.
Who would have thought
Castles
of it?
aren't supposed to be in the sky. They're supposed to be on the ground.
You didn't have an imaginative childhood, did you? Weez?
I was just gonna say, if we were on YouTube, this is where I'd cut to like the 40 movies of a castle in the sky, just like a quick cut of all that.
But then it ramps up. This is the true plot of the movie. It ramps up because at first it teases you with Castle in the Sky, which is such a wacky, bizarre concept.
I know, right?
And then it's like, we're gonna go even further. We're gonna put the castle into space.
With a
You know,
giant laser.
I did-
Who has done that before?
I did-
Castle in space.
I-
They're supposed to be on the ground.
do have one other complaint, and
Yeah.
this is just because of adventure genre stuff. They did not explore the castle enough. We spent more time in the underside of the castle than actually exploring the corridors and seeing what was in there and kind of getting an idea of what happened to the
I think
people.
that would have went against the Ghibli style, though.
Yeah, I guess.
Because the Ghibli style
yeah.
is always meant to be, you are watching this unfold. This is not for you. Like, the film is not for you to be explained to.
Yeah.
You're supposed to watch this and figure it out. And if by chance a character explains a little bit, well,
Well,
good for you.
I don't mean like
Yeah.
explain, but like there is a thing usually with adventure themed stuff. Of
Yeah.
You're going through the old abandoned place and you kind of see some stuff. You don't get told. Well, most movies nowadays would, but you don't get told. You just kind of see little remnants of stuff.
The most that they did of that was just walking into the
Yeah, they walked into the garden and there was the grave.
yeah.
And that was it. And the robot stood by the grave and never moved again.
That was kind of sad.
It was.
Yeah.
But I think I kind of like it though because it has that Dark Souls feel.
Yeah.
Like when we originally were talking about, it's like you were saying it kind of reminds you of Farum Azula. To me, it reminds me of Farum Azula because I'm like, what the heck happened here?
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, why is this castle floating? Like, who are the people that lived here?
It is cool because
Like-
it doesn't explain anything. Like you still don't know what happened.
I
with
don't
the-
want things explained. I just would like to see some of this
Yeah.
castle that we're being toted to, not just the underbelly armaments of it.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think maybe they focused more on there's a giant nuke laser at the bottom.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the end, it was also just kind of wrapping up. It's that problem with all movies.
Yeah, they get to
That
the
it was at
goal
the
and-
end, and they're just like, well, we can't waste time just walking through these corridors.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just one of those things that to me, it's like as Ghibli being kind of the vibe studio, they could have done that a little bit.
Yeah.
You know.
This was like the least vibe Ghibli movie I've watched.
Yeah. Well, Princess Mononoke was pretty not vibe.
Yeah.
that
that's
was
true.
just war.
That one was probably less vibe than
Wasn't
this
that one just kind of like existential?
Well, it was
Kind
kind
of.
of vibe in the forest at points.
Yeah, it's true. Like vibing with the tree spirits while they're walking.
Yeah.
That was a vibe.
That was
Yeah.
vibe. This one didn't really have much vibe except for the rocks.
Okay, the
Well, that
kitchen
was a
scene
sick
was
movie.
kind of vibe, like in the airship.
That's true.
I just laughed. Like
That
I
was-
laughed my
that was
butt off
funny.
at that because I'm just
What
like,
the heck
of
are
course.
you doing in here? Oh, you mooch. No, I'm gonna help.
I like the blonde one just walks out like, I love. Wait a second.
Well, because the whole thing that they're like, the captain is like, you need to marry someone like your mother.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they're all like, she's gonna be like, Mom. That whole thing. At the end. Okay, last complaint, and I think we're done. This isn't even really a complaint, but I wish they would have stayed with the pirates.
I thought they did.
No, they flew off on their own.
Did they?
The pirates went off and
Yeah.
did their own thing.
Oh.
Yeah, they did.
No.
But it would have been great.
At the
thought they
very
did
end,
go
they were
with
in that like kite thing.
Yeah,
and
Oh,
they
it
were
would
in
have been
like their
great
weird
if
train.
like the mother and the dad were like, why don't you just join us as the pirate crew? Like,
Yeah.
I want to see
Well, because they said they would work with them until then.
I know, but I wish it would have been the moment where it's just like they finally like,
Hey,
found
we're all
their
rich. Let's go
family.
find an adventure.
Yeah, like found their family type of thing. Like,
We
that would've
need
been cool.
a sequel
Well-
to this movie called Castle in Space, and
Okay.
it's them growing up, get technology advanced where they can go into space and they can visit
and
the
it's a
castle
Flash
again.
Gordon ripoff.
Okay, there is one kind of cool thing with the main characters, and kind of with that. Now that you say it, I'm thinking of it. Neither one of them were, oh boo hoo, I lost my family. It was just
No, yeah.
this happened.
Yeah,
I'm making life work. It's going fine. So I think that's kind of partially why they didn't do that.
Maybe.
They're kind of family enough for each other.
I guess that's true. Like we all know that they're just gonna go off and probably start their own like thing. Like obviously they're in
Together,
love
yeah.
at the end, so
Yeah, and they're kind of like, they're not needy characters. They're not clingy.
that
yeah.
was my favorite part. Like they weren't all over each other. Like
It was basically the girl got kidnapped and the boy was like, crap, he stole my friend.
like the most heartwarming moment is when they just landed on the island. They're still tied together.
Yeah.
Like that was like the most wholesome thing I've seen in a movie in a while.
At the end of the movie, I said, the real castle in the sky is the friends we made along the way.
You just were cringy through this whole thing. weren't
I
you?
think he
I
was
was.
high. I think he's currently
I
on
wa-
5 different anti-allergy.
I don't think I
meds.
slept enough last night. I had to wake up earlier than normal.
His
So-
pupils are dilated.
So I was watching the movie and it was just like,
Oh, now his eyes are rolling back.
and I was just like, there's a castle in the sky.
Well, the demon wheeze just took over.
Just blew my mind.
Oh, okay. Well, I think that's about it. It's weird. Like either we get into ranting about movies or we just like gush over them for.
I would definitely say it is worth a watch.
Yeah.
Now the real question is, what would you rate it?
I am gonna rate it. I'm only gonna do 5-point ratings. I'm gonna
Alright.
give it 4 castles out of 5.
4. There's only one castle though.
There's
In
4
the sky.
There's 4 castles now in the sky.
What?
I mean, in the beginning, in the opening credits, there was like a whole fleet of islands. so-
Yes.
Oh, that is true.
That was one
Yeah.
other thing. Also, just quick little bit.
I think that was a history thing.
that was a history thing, but I
Mm.
kind of wish there were little hints throughout the world of like some of the islands crashing or
Yeah.
something.
That would have been cool.
Well, I think.
And maybe that's where the villages came from.
Well, no, like there's a storm, and then the next scene was a bunch of people getting out of like a giant island.
Oh, maybe they landed them.
I think they landed it. But anyways, that's like a whole. We could probably just like theorize.
We should
about
just
this.
do a deep dive of this movie
We
someday.
could.
I want to do a deep dive analysis, frame by frame.
Leif
scene by
Erikson was traveling across the ocean and they found him and they took him to the new continent.
The Castle in the Sky people abducted Leif Erikson.
Yes, they did.
That's why there's no Vikings.
That's why the Vikings didn't settle in Canada.
And since Ramen has the hair for it, he just has to say aliens. Wheeze.
I rate it 1 castle in the sky out of 1.
A perfect rating. Wow, I think that's our first perfect rating.
There's no such thing as a perfect.
I mean, it's 1 castle or it's 0 castles. So, yeah.
There's 1, 2.
There's 2 castles in the movie.
5.
There's only 1 in the sky though.
Now, if you count all the pieces the robot blew up of the
I
military
give it
castle.
4 out of the 5 pirate brothers.
Nice. The one
I had to count. I'm pretty
the
sure there's
one
5 of them.
that one pirate brother, frick you.
What one pirate brother?
I don't know.
The French-looking one.
The one that was left out of the rating.
There's 6 of them, isn't there?
I don't know.
Oh no, the one I left out.
Yeah.
That's the French one. I didn't like the French.
Okay, perfect.
Besides for that, I think that's about it for today. You guys got any last words?
Go watch the movie. It's great.
I mean, it's 1986, so it's past time.
Okay, if people aren't watching this purely on the year of it,
I wasn't saying that. I was
yeah,
just saying
no. I'm
it's
just gonna say that's a dumb reason because you miss
Yeah.
out on a lot of stuff doing.
Well, it's also a Ghibli film. Like those are timeless for the animation. It's like
Yeah.
watching Snow
Yeah.
White. Snow White, you can watch it anytime.
Yeah.
What about you, Reese? Any last words?
There's a castle,
In
and
the
it's in the
sky.
sky.
All right, I'm dealing with this.
Jam, yum.
All right. See you all later.
Bye.